Welcome to the What's Next podcast. On today's episode, Mike and I sit down with my sister, Allison Kienapple, and chat in depth about her journey as a personal support worker. What the day in the life of a PSW really looks like. We openly discuss the difficult time she had to endure on this journey, and we ask the final question, what's next? So if you're ready, buckle up and let's go. We just wanted to say thanks for coming on. It's we're looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we want we just want to know about you. The whole premise of the podcast comes from just the aspect of the name, right, Mike? What's next?
Absolutely. Because
we've all got from the time that we step onto this planet or fall out onto this planet, whatever you want to call it, we're here, and then we've got a journey from that day until where we are today, and then we'd like to ask the question as to what's next. So, And
again, I think having these guests on, like yourself, Allison, the nice thing is, as Bryan have always said, our stories connect us to other people, and we always think we're the only ones going through something, or we're the only ones in a situation, or the only ones that have found success in certain areas. But there's just something that somebody usually connects to on our podcast that says, you know what, that's me. I'm not alone.
Right.
That's my story too, and it's and I think that more than anything, that's why Bryan and I got together is we wanted to, because telling your story first off starts the healing, but it also opens up somebody else's door to say, you know what, that's me too. So I really appreciate you being here, and excited to have a conversation with you.
There you go.
That's great.
She's going, as long as
yeah, she's like, oh boy, what the hell have I got myself into here? Yeah, I'm going to just let everybody know as we step into this thing that you're my sister. You've been my sister since you were born, I think. If I got that right.
And do not say how many. Don't say how many.
I was going to say, I thought he was actually going to go and say
how many years that's been.
I thought he's not going to go there.
Oh shit! No, you don't go there. You don't say stuff like that.
Not the sisters.
No,
but no, thanks for coming on. So let's learn a little bit about you. You know, this counterpart of mine sitting over here, Mr. Mike Hectus.
Glad to have you on, Allison.
Yes.
And let's just learn about you. Let's figure out how you got from day one. In a little bit of a synopsis, a little bit of a little bit of your background, your drive. Now just to let everybody know out there, you're a personal support worker. That's an amazing job. A lot of people, I guess if I'm being honest here, and maybe you can clarify for a minute, a lot of people don't know what the hell you guys do. They don't understand, and they really don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. But let's just find out how the hell you got to deciding that you wanted to be a personal support worker.
Sure. Well, I guess I've been exposed to the medical field for a while, as having you as my brother working in that department as well, and I have other family members there. So I actually ended up getting my RPN and working at that for a little while, and then I had my two kids, so I was fortunate enough with my husband's business to be able to stay at home and raise my kids, which was an absolutely amazing thing that I was able to do. So in that process, I sort of lost my RPN license, and to relicense it, they wanted me to do all kinds of clinical hours that was going to take me away from home. And of course, that was going to be free, and I couldn't afford to quite do that. So I actually went out and got my PSW just to get me back into the medical field. And so that's how I basically ended up being a PSW. I'm actually right now not actively working as a PSW. I'm more so working in the care coordinating piece of it. So I ensure that people actually have those supports within their home setting right now. But I loved being a PSW. It was fantastic taking care of people and ensuring that while they were able to live at home, that they had everything that they actually needed to be able to do that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the whole RPN thing, where were you going with that? Like
Yep.
what was your plan?
I actually wanted to be, that's what I wanted to do. But then once I was fortunate enough to have both of my kids, then I chose to stay at home with them. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to be able to stay at home and raise my kids. So I chose that rather than working in the hospital setting.
Yeah, my daughter was came out of school as a nurse as well and was in the hospital setting for a while, and then just struggled with that. And just I think it was a real mental struggle for her. But she ended up then working with a private clinic. So I guess once we say PSW, personal service worker or support
Yep.
work. Tell me a little bit what is, like I say, we see signs around all the time looking for PSWs. You know, nowadays there's signs everywhere,
Right.
PSWs to be hired.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the actual role of a personal support worker from somebody like myself
Right.
that really isn't sure?
Well, to be honest with you, once I went through the RPN program, and what we did as an RPN, as in the daily care activities of daily living, supporting people to shower, to take care of themselves, get dressed, all that kind of stuff, get ready for meals, and we did do some wound care and some medication navigation and things like that for people. It was basically the exact same thing as what we were doing as an RPN, but at least now it is. That's what PSW basically is. The only difference is really PSWs can't sort of go in and see an issue, like say with a wound or anything like that, and treat it themselves.
Hmm.
Each individual case that you go to, you have to be trained to take care of each individual situation that you run upon. They can't administer medications. We can get medications ready, but they can't administer. So that would be the difference with the RPN as well as we were able to administer medications, right?
So now you're going right into people's homes then, or into a seniors facility if that's where they're staying. That's where you're going in to take care of these people then.
Yeah, so their activities of daily living are taken care of, right?
Hmm.
And it's like some people, they require more care than others. It just depends on exactly what it looks like for that day.
Right. Sorry, I got to let Bryan jump in here at some point, but I need to ask too. So you're going into a senior's home, somebody that needs actual support. What's that environment like going into sometimes? I mean, it can't be the most pleasant environment, I would think. They're elderly people. Tell me what that's like. I saw that little shake of your head there.
Yeah.
What's that like? I mean, what's it like?
I was a PSW out in community. I wasn't in a hospital setting because
Hmm.
nowadays PSWs are able to work within a hospital setting. I wasn't able to do that. So I was out in the community, and you just never know what kind of situation you're going to end up upon. You don't know if when you walk in to a situation, whether that person has dementia or hasn't taken their medication that day, or the conditions of a home setting, or what's going on there at any given time. I think it's a high risk situation when you're out in community for sure.
Wow. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, especially if you don't know what you're going into. You're going in there first off because you
No.
want to support this person, and it's who you are. Your nature is to go in and help this person, but you walk in and you're going, "Holy crap! I don't know how I can help
Right.
you." Wow, that's good for you. Good for anybody that is a
That's
PSW.
right.
That's incredible.
Talk to me about the emotional attachment that comes with the job,
Ooh.
because that's a big one.
Well, I think that there's a huge emotional attachment, even just not even as a PSW. When you become a care coordinator and you go out to people's homes, and you get to know them on a personal level, the emotional attachment is huge. It's huge. It's a tough one. I had one lady that I took care of for a very long time in Waterloo, and I got to know everything about her children and where she came from and what it was like, to come over here from Germany. And um, it was a tough one when I lost her, absolutely. And the thing is me being an RPN and then going into that PSW situation, she, ended up with some cancerous wounds on her legs, and there's nothing that I can do about it until I, sort of report that and get direction on, how to deal with it at that time. So it's a tough one. It is, absolutely, because like I said, you become emotionally attached to them.
Yeah, because you and I have conversations about this all the time, and I think what this really comes down to, where like sometimes these elderly folks, like maybe they don't have a lot of family around, maybe they don't have a lot of friends anymore that are either at the place where they're at, or unfortunately through the whole dementia, Alzheimer's things, maybe they've forgotten who the hell a lot of these people are, and you become
Absolutely.
their new family. That's got to be a tough one. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you've told me lots of stories. Just a recent story. We won't go into a lot of details with it, but just a recent story where one of your clients was trying to get a hold of you to get you to come out to the place, right? And you just because of staffing situations right now, you couldn't get people to the people that you direct. You couldn't get the people to go out because they were tied up with so many other calls. So you ended up going out, and it was just a day
Yes,
that
it
she
is.
just needed you to be there. Yeah, that's all that was. That was
Yes,
a
100%.
conversation that she needed, and for whatever reason, she, call it whatever the hell you want to call it. Maybe she knew that the time wasn't too much longer, and unfortunately ended up passing away a day or two after that. But so I think that's a
Yeah.
tremendous emotional baggage for you guys as personal support workers to carry. So, like, do you guys get training in this area? How to handle this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we become their family because either their family is busy working,
Yep.
or taking care of their families, or they don't live here. And that's the thing. We become visitors, right? We become the people that go on the daily basis that they see all the time. So, yeah, it's hard. They become part of our family as well, right? We share them with our family because we'll talk about our families and our children and things like that. So that's the way it. Yeah, it's more of a visiting thing for people. They become lonely.
Yeah. So again, excuse me. Just I know you're going through these emotional stages with these people. You're getting to know them. They're getting to know you, and then for whatever reason, their life has ended. And where do you turn to try to cope with that yourself? I mean, you've gotten pretty close. They're like family. So, is there support for PSWs to be able to deal with some of these difficulties?
I didn't find any myself within a workplace setting. I more so turn to colleagues, or friends of mine, or of course, I have a very supportive family, so I could turn to them for some support as well.
Sorry, I'm sitting here and we're talking about it. I'm thinking PSWs. I mean, there's what a wonderful thing that you do, but now so we got probably people listening going, I don't want to be a PSW. Holy mackerel! Don't take me down that path. But no, it's
Yeah.
a great. It is
No, that's right.
It's a
Absolutely.
wonderful
They
thing
don't
that
want
you're
to.
doing. But again, it takes a strong person. Just like we look at our first responders that Bryan and I have talked about, and the emotional things that you go through, and trying to sleep at night and stuff. And you guys, it's no different. I mean, you're facing the same things. You're facing people that you've become attached to. Well, even more so than first responders, I guess, because it could be just a short situation where you meet somebody, but you're building a relationship with this person. So, yeah, that's got to be tough, man. Wow.
How do you
Yeah.
become a PSW?
You can take it at the college level. There is some community programs that offer it. Now, I've been told as of late, even some of the long-term care facilities are offering it as well. I don't know exactly what that looks like within their facilities, but they are offering that education as well. It's probably online, I'm sure, as well. I don't know how much clinical they
Amazon
could do
probably has it.
online. Yeah, but I'm sure the courses are offered online as well.
Wow.
So now you're in a management position. What's that entail? So now
Yeah.
I'm sure you're wishing for some more PSWs to come through the system because you're probably lacking bodies right now, I would think. But as a
Yeah,
management position, what are you doing right now?
absolutely.
How's that position look, or how's that roll?
the position that I'm doing right now, it's actually fantastic. I love it. It's sort of linking them to the supports that are out there in their community settings. We've noticed, of course, like rurally, it's really tough to get PSWs because of the distance that people have to travel. But we have to remember that we still have people that are needing supports on farms and things like that. But to get people, especially in those inclement weather, people don't want to go out and support those people in those areas. So, they're lacking with PSWs, of course, out there. But yeah, so I get to link people to all of the support systems that are out there, whether it be counseling or transportation needs or meals, anything like that, and make sure that they're well supported at home. And it's all that collaborative care, right, that we get to do. So it's kind of nice to see that we can put those supports in place for people and see people thrive within their home setting. And, that's so important for people to be able to stay at home as long as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's we've lived it personally in our own life with our grandmother that man, we had to literally pull her through the door to get her out the door of that house because they want to stay, right? They want to stay in their homes, and rightfully so. I think I'd probably want to be the same way. You want to stay in your home as long as you can, and when you're being forced to go somewhere that you either don't want to or you don't understand or whatever other medical condition is going on, that gets to be a tough thing. So that's another thing for you guys to have to handle and have to deal with. So it's a big one. So is it a rewarding job, a PSW?
Yeah, and a lot of it too is the safety risks at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's the supervision. It's Bryan and I, we had our father who had Alzheimer's and dementia there, and it's tough when you've got people that are living in community. My dad was thankfully he had my mom, and he had us, and we still had to at the end point there, he had to be within a facility setting, but
Mm-hmm.
out there in community, you can only imagine those that don't have family to advocate for their well-being or to make sure that things are safe. So it's a tough one. It's a
Yeah.
real tough one.
Yeah, family's so huge. I mean, as Bryan knows, my mom, she's 88, still lives in her own home, the home that I was born and raised in. She's very blessed to have my older brother living with her now, which it really helps. But at 88, she's not going anywhere, man. This is home. You're not taking me out of here. I'm staying right here. And yet it's those that.
Right.
Like I said, I got all kinds of visions going on in my head because I can only imagine what some of these households are like where they don't have somebody. If somebody's, like I say, late 80s and they don't want to leave, they don't have family close by, I can only imagine what those surroundings and environment are like. It can't be healthy. And they do really count on you being there. How often would you go see somebody, or how often do they see somebody, or it all depends?
Well, it depends on the situation. And of course, a lot of their care is covered through the government. So it just depends on what people qualify for too, right? It depends on how much support they have within the home setting already with family or friends. And then it depends on what they sort of qualify for depending on their needs. There is privatized care that they can hire, but it's expensive.
Oh,
It's costly
yeah, I
to hire
bet.
that care to come into your home.
yeah. You know
Yeah.
what, Al? We we went through this with my dad where he was in a rehab situation for he had a fall and broke his arm and the whole bit, but like he was the dementia and Alzheimer's aspect to it. It gets to be a really scary place because you don't know where they are, and they're having a conversation with you just like it's every day. And like the conversations with him near the end of his life were not real, but we couldn't. We had to come together as a family, and that is Allison and my brother and my mom and I coming down where they wanted to send him home. The system
Yeah.
wanted to send him home. And we were saying to my mom, like, shit, you can't look after him.
No.
Yeah, and we make fun of it now because I guess that's not fun of it. It's just we find humor in it.
Yeah.
because it was a coping mechanism for us as a family unit. But like shit, like we had to take the knobs off the stove.
Wow.
Because like he literally puts, my mom had left for a half hour to get out and just get a life again, and then comes home and like there's stuff on the stove that's burning. So, Allison, you and your staff must have to deal with stuff like this all the time, and it's a scary thing.
If you think about even us, Brian, if we hadn't have advocated for dad, like I don't know where he would be. So what you think about those people that don't have that advocacy behind them, I don't know what ends up happening with people,
Yeah.
I have no idea. And that's the thing that you're left with. You're left with, when you go home at night, to whatever, but those people that they don't have anything, are they going to end up wandering the streets tonight? Because there's nobody there to be able to watch them, right? We know that. And we know there's lots of people that are living out there right now that can't make themselves a meal,
Yeah, they can't.
just things like that.
Can't make a meal. They can't cook them. Can't clean house. Can't do any of that.
No.
Wow.
No, and they
That's
can't
right.
take care
And
of themselves.
they can't have a simple, yeah. And you know what? That day-to-day conversation with people that actually want to have a conversation with them, a lot of them don't have it. And as we know, conversation, it's huge in the well-being of somebody.
Exactly, and hence our show. Just opening up that conversation.
Yeah.
And hopefully somebody's listening and can reach out and say, okay, we need some help.
Yeah. Because you're my sister and you admit that to a lot of people. I'm just going to say, and because of Frontline Forward and the clientele that we have there, I know that you and your job now, but you did it while you were working as a personal support worker out there. You work pretty close with Waterloo Regional Police and their community engagement team.
Yep.
And what's that all about?
They are a wonderful group of people that, just like it says, it's community engagement. So they advocate for the people in the community as well. So they look like police officers. They can be police officers. They wear the full uniform and they have the gun and the baton and the walkie-talkie and the whole 9 yards. And yes, they carry the capability of giving you a ticket if they find you somewhere. But they advocate for those people out there in the community. So they become part of a support staff. So, they go out, they become friends with these people. They have conversations. They show them that there's somebody to trust, and they advocate for the well-being of these people.
Wow.
It's amazing support system.
Yeah, it's good. It really, and I've through yourself, I've got to know a lot of these officers that you work with, and they really are. They're an outstanding group of people, and I'm glad that they've, that there is this structure in place within our police system that's working with you guys and out there advocating for the support of these people because they need it, and then they're there to support you guys because, you guys walk into some nasty situations.
Yeah, I've worked alongside of them in some situations where it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thankfully they're there, right? They're only a phone call away. And like I said, they work on behalf of us, but they definitely work on behalf of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? What do you do to take care of yourself, to keep yourself mentally, physically stable, sane, whatever you want to call it, with dealing with the job that you got? Like, people are going to want to hear this as a personal support worker, and you as the management side organizing all this. You got to do stuff that keeps you healthy. So what do you do?
What do I do? Well, you know what? I got myself, and I'm not saying everybody should do this, but I got myself a German Shepherd.
Mm.
He's my best friend, and we spend a heck of a lot of time together. He is a wonderful fella. He relieves a lot of my stress. I'm sure he takes on a lot of my stress, but he's a great fella, and we do a lot of walking. I have recently started line dancing with my mother on Thursday nights. She's a line dance instructor, so I go out there and start dancing.
Nice.
And I keep the communication open. I talk to my, I shouldn't say I talk, because there's a lot of times where I tend to be silent, but I talk to you a lot, Brian. You know that. So
Oh, I was going to say that when you mentioned the dog, it's one of those things that I thought too with my grandmother. She suffered from dementia for many years, and I'd go visit her all the time, and she'd always remember the dog's name every day. Remember the dog's name. Me, she had no idea. I was either her son Ken or I was her son Ross, but I was never her grandson Michael. She could never remember that, but she always remembered the dog's name. So I think as personal support workers, do they ever take their dogs with them? Because elderly people love dogs. Can they, or is that part of the job?
yeah, I look at it. I guess my dog Nash is my personal support worker at the end of the day.
Can you guys take dogs, therapy dogs, service dogs? Can you take them on the job with you?
No, I have never seen dogs with people. I've seen like dogs visiting in long-term care facilities and things like that. They have to go through quite a rigorous sort of procedure to get to be able to do something like that. But no, we've never been told that we can take dogs. It's a great idea, I think, anyway, as long as people aren't afraid of them. But yeah, no, we've never taken dogs.
Well, we just put it out there to the public, so we want them to be able to take dogs.
There you go.
So on that though, like I say, now you're in a management position and you're loving what you're doing now, which is great. You're being able to get these people what they need, whether it's a support worker to come in or meals delivered or a pickup and a ride or whatever. Where do you see as our podcast is called? What's next? What's next for Allison?
Ooh. Well, career-wise, I absolutely love what I'm doing, so I definitely wouldn't change what I'm doing. But what's next for me? I'm doing a lot of soul searching right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of soul searching. I'm trying to do a lot of, I stopped doing a lot of self-care for a while, so I'm trying to do some self-care.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
And
Power of positive thinking.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
This sounds like almost like podcast number 2.
It does.
Sounds like we need to have another podcast. I think we just opened up a door.
There you go.
Can we do podcast number 2?
We sure can.
Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome.
go.
We'll have to come back again then.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap this one up. Again, thank you for being on the show, for sharing. And that's the whole thing. What's next is maybe you're going to implement a whole dog program into this into the unit up there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There you go. Awesome. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian. Great to be with you again.
Thank you.
Allison, thanks for being with us tonight. That was awesome.
And we'll
Thank you.
start this again soon. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody. Peace. We're out of here.